Thank you very much, everybody, and hello, Philadelphia. I went to school in Philadelphia, I must say. I like it. And we won it twice, in actuality. And we won it all the times in the primaries. We had great success here. We're going to have the biggest year we ever had. This is going to be a big one. And hello also to this great place. I love this place. You know, I've gone to a couple of games. You used to have good teams. You still have good teams here? I don't know. A little bit. Had a great coach, actually. Hello, Pennsylvania. It's good to be with you. Good to be with you. I'm thrilled to be back in the birthplace of American freedom with thousands and thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are. With your help, 5 months from now, we're going to win this Commonwealth. We're going to evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House. And we are going to make America great again. Less than 4 years ago, our border was secure. Inflation was nowhere to be seen. The world was at peace. They respected your country. And America was strong like never before. All because you finally had a president who put America first. I put America first. All we want them to do is be honest. Because they're all going out of business. Nobody believes them anymore. And it didn't help when they went along with the Biden scam. What is he called? What is he called? Do you know what he calls it? So they get him in about 9 different positions. I mean, even normal positions, although I assume he's been in some very bad ones. But they get him in all these horrible, compromising posts. And then they say, it really wasn't that way. It was total. Then everybody sends in, they all have cameras. See, every one of you has a camera. If I blow it up here, though, they take a perfect, brilliant, beautiful statement that I make. I go for 2 hours without teleprompters. And if I say one word slightly out, they say, he's cognitively impaired. Whereas Biden can run into walls. He can fall off the stage. He can fall up the stairs. He falls up. He can turn around. Listen to this. From 20,000 feet, a paratrooper is landing right in front of him. Everybody, all the foreign leaders, they're watching. And he turns around to look at a tree. Right? No. And then they say it was fake. He was fine. And then the press goes along with it. They go along with it. They say, isn't it terrible the way they cover him? No, he's terrible. The worst president in history by far. And we have to get him out, or this country is not going to survive another year. According to the much better national crime victimization survey, there has actually been a 43% increase in violent crime since I left office, including 58% increase in rapes, an 89% increase in aggravated assaults, and a 56% increase in robberies. Other than that, I think we're doing quite well, don't you? But with your vote, Joe Biden's wave of bedlam and death and terror will begin to recede the moment I take the oath of office, January 20th. First, I will stand with the heroes of law enforcement. We will give our police officers the respect and protection, resources and support that they need to drive down your crime to zero. Second, we will surge federal law enforcement resources to the places that need them most. There are certain places, like places that I know very well here, that are just absolutely out of control. I mean, if you walk down certain streets here, you have a 50-50 chance of not ever seeing your home again. That's not too good. Instead of throwing Christians in jail, as Biden has done, We are going to crack down on the gangs, the drug dealers, human traffickers, and criminal cartels. Third, we're going to stand up to the out-of-control, Soros-backed DAs like Philadelphia's despicable Marxist prosecutor, Larry Krasner. How did he get in? Krasner has the blood of countless men, women, children on his hands, including thousands of African-American citizens, because he refuses to prosecute people. They don't refuse to prosecute me. I got more prosecutions than any human being. I've got more than the great Alphonse Capone. You ever hear of Scarface? Oh, my parents are looking down. How did this happen to my son? You know how it happened? I won an election that I wasn't supposed to win. I then did better the second time by a lot. We did much better, for those of you in the fake news, we did much better the second time than we did the first, like not even a contest. In fact, we got the most votes for a sitting president in the history of our country. And then we were told, oh, but you just missed it. You just lost. No, we can't let this happen. And I'll tell you what, I have never seen, and we had a great 2016, we had an even better 2020. There has never been enthusiasm like I'm seeing right now. There's never been. Never been. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Isn't that great? They've got the best seat in the House. Because if there's a star in the crowd, the cameras on them, like the whole thing. They maybe only can see the back of my head. But you know what? The cameras on them, you think you have the best seats. If there's a star in the group, they will be found by the fake news. But my administration will aggressively defend the right of every American to live in safety and in peace. We're going to have a safe country again. We're going to have a safe country again. For that same reason, we will end Biden migrant crime. New category, it's a vicious crime. I told Dana White of UFC, I said, here's what we're going to do. These are tough cookies coming into our country, coming with prisons and mental institutions. I said to Dana White, UFC, he's got a big fight going on right now. He's a good friend of mine. You know what he said the other day? They said, who's the toughest person you've ever met? He said, definitely Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump. How about that? But I said, Dana, I have an idea for you to make a lot of money. You're going to go and start a new migrant fight. All we want them to do is be honest, because they're all going out of business. Nobody believes them anymore. And it didn't help when they went along with the Biden scam. What is he called? What is he called? Do you know what he calls it? So they get him in about 9 different positions. I mean, even normal positions, although I assume he's been in some very bad ones. But they get him in all these horrible, compromising posts. And then they say, it really wasn't that way. It was total. Then everybody sends in, they all have cameras. See, every one of you has a camera. If I blow it up here, though, they take a perfect, brilliant, beautiful statement that I make. I go for 2 hours without teleprompters. And if I say one word slightly out, they say, he's cognitively impaired. Whereas Biden can run into walls, he can fall off the stage, he can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall up the stairs, he falls up. He can fall He can turn around, listen to this. From 20,000 feet, a paratrooper is landing right in front of him. Everybody, all the foreign leaders, they're watching. And he turns around to look at a tree. Right? No. And then they say it was fake, he was fine. And then the press goes along with it. They go along with it. They say, isn't it terrible the way they cover him? No, he's terrible. The worst president in history by far. And we have to get him out, or this country is not going to survive another year. According to the much better national crime victimization survey, there has actually been a 43% increase in violent crime since I left office, including 58% increase in rapes, an 89% increase in aggravated assaults, and a 56% increase in robberies. Other than that, I think we're doing quite well, don't you? But with your vote, Joe Biden's wave of bedlam and death and terror will begin to recede the moment I take the oath of office, January 20th. First, I will stand with the heroes of law enforcement. We will give our police officers the respect and protection, resources and support that they need to drive down your crime to zero. Second, we will surge federal law enforcement resources to the places that need them most. There are certain places, like places that I know very well here, that are just absolutely out of control. I mean, if you walk down certain streets here, you have a 50-50 chance of not ever seeing your home again. That's not too good. Instead of throwing Christians in jail, as Biden has done, we are going to crack down on the gangs, the drug dealers, human traffickers, and criminal cartels. Third, we're going to stand up to the out-of-control, Soros-backed DAs like Philadelphia's despicable Marxist prosecutor, Larry Krasner. How did he get in? Krasner has the blood of countless men, women, children on his hands, including thousands of African-American citizens, because he refuses to prosecute people. They don't refuse to prosecute me. I got more prosecutions than any human being. I've got more than the great Alphonse Capone. You ever hear of Scarface? Oh, my parents are looking down. How did this happen to my son? You know how it happened? I won an election that I wasn't supposed to win. I then did better the second time by a lot. We did much better, for those of you in the fake news, we did much better the second time than we did the first, like not even a contest. In fact, we got the most votes for a sitting president in the history of our country. And then we were told, oh, but you just missed it. You just lost. No, we can't let this happen. And I'll tell you what, I have never seen, and we had a great 2016, we had an even better 2020. There has never been enthusiasm like I'm seeing right now. There's never been. Never been. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Isn't that great? They've got the best seat in the House. Because if there's a star in the crowd, the cameras on them, like the whole thing. They maybe only can see the back of my head. But you know what? The cameras on them, you think you have the best seats. If there's a star in the group, they will be found by the fake news. But my administration will aggressively defend the right of every American to live in safety and in peace. We're going to have a safe country again. We're going to have a safe country, okay? For that same reason, we will end Biden migrant crime. New category, it's a vicious crime. I told Dana White of UFC, I said, here's what we're going to do. You know, these are tough cookies coming into our country, coming with prisons and mental institutions. I said to Dana White, UFC, he's got a big fight going on right now. He's a good friend of mine. You know what he said the other day? They said, who's the toughest person you've ever met? He said, definitely Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump. How about that? But I said, Dana, I have an idea for you to make a lot of money. You're going to go and start a new migrant fight league. Migrants, only migrants. And then at the end of the year, the champion migrant is going to fight your champion. And I hate to tell you, Dana, I think the migrant might win. That's how tough they are. This is not a normal situation. This is not, oh, isn't it wonderful, these wonderful people. These people are drug dealers, gang members, killers in so many different ways. No. And we probably have 18 million. We'll have 20 million by the time we get this guy out of there. But we got to get him out fast. We got even bigger problems. We got to get him out fast. The biggest problem is what he's saying to Russia, China, to Kim Jong-un, North Korea. What he's saying to these countries, they're laughing at us. They can't believe this has happened to America. On day one, I will seal the border, stop the invasion, and send Joe Biden's illegal aliens the hell back home. Day after day, week after week, Joe Biden is releasing illegal criminals into our communities to rape, pillage, plunder, and to kill. And by the way, here's the only thing. He doesn't even have a clue, in my opinion. These are young, smart people that happen to be fascists and communists that surround. They surround him in the Oval Office, the beautiful Resolute desk. It's been soiled. That gorgeous Resolute desk. What they're doing to our country, they're destroying our country. Just this week, a 12-year-old girl in Houston, Jocelyn Nungari, was tied up, stripped, and strangled to death after walking to a 7-Eleven, her body dumped near the side of the road in a shallow creek. Charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder are two illegal alien savages that Joe Biden recently set loose into our country. They came across our border, claiming they feared for their lives in Venezuela. They feared for their lives in Venezuela. You know, in Venezuela, crime is down 72% because they've taken their criminals, their drug dealers, and most of the people in their jails, and they've brought them to the United States of America. So they were afraid for their lives, and think of it, they couldn't stand it. They were so afraid. I'm so afraid, Venezuela. But they waited only weeks before murdering this precious, young, beautiful girl. One of them was here for 21 days before the murder took place. Last week in New York, another illegal alien who Joe Biden set loose into our country approached two 13-year-old children with a machete in broad daylight, and like a scene from a horror movie, he forced them into the woods, tied them together by their wrists, and raped the young girl at a park in Queens, a park that I grew up right next to, while filming it on camera. He put it on camera. He thought it was great. You know, I used to go to that park. I'd ride my bicycle like a kid. I was a kid, too. Can you believe it? I'd ride my bicycle to the park. My mother loved me, but she'd say, oh, good, now be home at a certain time, you know. I'd ride there. This went on for years. There was never any thought of anything happening. Now, if you go to a park near your home, you have a very good chance of never seeing your child again. This is not living in a country that we grew up in, and we're not going to stand for it. We're not going to stand for it. We're going to take our country back. We're going to take our country back. In Iowa this week, another illegal immigrant released by Joe Biden pled guilty to sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl And last week, yet another Biden migrant was arrested for the rape and murder of Rachel Morin. I just spoke to her mother, Patricia, Patty, as they say, but Patricia. Rachel was a 37-year-old Maryland mother of 5 whom he attacked while she was out for a run. She wanted to stay in good shape, and she ends up getting killed. Police believe that the animal responsible for Rachel's killing first murdered another young woman in El Salvador. Then he fled across Joe Biden's wide-open border. Wide open, come on in, into the United States. You know, we had the safest border in the history of our country. Now we have the unsafest border in the history of the world. After which he savagely attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home in Los Angeles before killing Rachel. And a lot of Rachel's family is here. I have to say that they're incredible people. And we're deeply grateful for the brother, sister of Rachel, Michael Morin, Aaron Morin Lehman. Would you stand up, please, wherever you may be? They've gone through hell. I've watched them on television. I've watched you on television, and it is a tough deal. People say time. I don't know about time. I don't know if that's the answer. Thank you very much. Michael and Aaron, we grieve Rachel's loss. We pray that God will ease your pain, and we resolve to secure our border so this will never happen again. But you know it's going to happen again because we have an incompetent man. He's an incompetent, and he's happens to be the president. You know, all he has to do is say, close the border. He doesn't need Congress. I need Congress. I didn't have Congress. I closed the border. We had the safest border. All he has to do is say, close the border. And it's closed. That's all you have to say. He doesn't need anything from Congress. It's just unlikely that a thing like that would have happened. Thank you for being with us. Yeah. That's when it first, we built hundreds of miles of wall. We got Mexico to give us thousands and thousands of soldiers. And we had a great border even while we were building it. And then we were going to add 200 miles of wall. And we had a rigged election take place. And what happened is when I left, all hell broke loose. And they didn't want to finish the wall. They didn't want to put up the additional wall we built. And it was all built to the highest specs of Border Patrol and ICE. And they're incredible people, by the way, Border Patrol and ICE. And instead of putting it up, which would have taken 3 weeks, they decided to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar. And the rest is history. When I return to the White House, we will stop the plunder, rape, slaughter, and destruction of our American suburbs, cities, and towns. That's what's happening, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Worse and worse and worse by the day. We will shut down deadly sanctuary cities. I will shift massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement. And on day one, we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. We have no choice. We have no choice. You know who had the largest? General Dwight D. Eisenhower when he was president. Good general, good president. Very much responsible for the interstate highway system. But he was tremendous on not wanting people to illegally flow into our country. He had the strongest deportation program. Ours will unfortunately have to be much stronger than his because he didn't have 20 million people walk in. And these are people out of the jails and out of the mental institutions. He didn't have that. He had people walk in, but they weren't the people that we're getting. And you know what? I know every one of the presidents over there, presidents. I call them presidents, dictators, kings, queens. I know every one of them. They come from all over the world, by the way. I would do the same thing as them. They're emptying their jails and they're emptying their mental institutions. I would have done it faster than them because actually they have some people left. I would have had, they're dumping them in. We're like a dumping ground for the rest of the world. And it's going to stop on January 20th at a level that you haven't seen before. It's going to stop. I don't know if they have it. We have a card. We have a card that shows, a graph that shows I don't know if you guys are going to be because I was called that after doing this for a few years, right? So if you look at that arrow on the bottom, the red arrow on the bottom, that is the week that I left office. That was the lowest level of illegal immigration in the history of our country, recorded history. Okay? And then Crooked Joe Biden came to office. Crooked as a $3 bill. I used to say $2 bill, but they make $2 bills, right? He's crooked as a $3 bill. He came to office right there, and there was an explosion of illegal immigration. By the way, drugs and human trafficking, too. And human trafficking is mostly in women, I hate to say. You think of it as an ancient thing, but you know what made it almost as big as the drug dealing stuff? You know what it was? The internet. It's made it massive. Human trafficking in women. And there's more of it going on right now than any time in the history of the world. And it's taken place during this horrible, pathetic president's time in office. So there it is. And that's done by the Border Patrol. That's not even done by Trump. That looks like it's done by Trump, right? That's done by the Border Patrol. That was the lowest point, that arrow. I'm very proud of that. And that supersedes a couple of things. You know what? That was in the ratings book. Because last night, and they will never tell you this because they're fake news, but last night, Rasmussen, which is, in my opinion, the most respected poll out there. Now, of course, if we get a bad one, I'll take that back. If I had a bad poll, if they come out with a bad poll in a month from now, I'll say Rasmussen is terrible. But Rasmussen, no, it is a highly respected pollster. And they came out with a poll last night that Trump is 10 points up. Okay. The fake news will not report it. The fake news will not. But they do report that we're leading in every single swing state. We're leading in Pennsylvania by a lot. No, we're doing good. Good-looking man. Good. Thank you. I like the hat. Thank you very much. No, we're doing good. You know, we have some people here. Where are those people? Look at those. See those beautiful women up there? I don't know what the hell their husbands are. Look at that. They come from a place called, nobody's ever heard of this, North Carolina, right? Which we won both times and won by a lot. And in fact, we did so good, we took Michael Whatley, the head of the Republican Party in North Carolina, we put him in charge. This is their 118th rally. And I don't know what the hell is happening with their husband. I've never figured it. They're all married. They're all happily, I think, married. Are you happily married? Look at this. They come way over 100 times. And we also have front row Joes here. Where the hell is, look at them, front row. And they come in, and they've been here 201 times. I can't believe I did that many. How about me? Did I do that many? I did that many. So, thank you, front row. And thank you very much. It's nice, and you look great. You look great. Are we going to win? We don't have a choice. So we got this poll last night from Rasmussen, and it was very interesting. They also did it like with Kennedy and with the other ones in there. Right? Cornel West. He's one of my favorite candidates, Cornel West. And I like her also, Jill Stein. I like her very much. You know why? She takes 100% from them. He takes 100%. Kennedy's probably 50-50, but he's a fake. He's a fake. He's a total fake. You don't want to. He's more liberal than Joe Biden and all of these communists that work for him. Kennedy's more liberal than all of them. He wants to be in the debate, but he's got bad numbers. You can't do that, right? I'd like to have him in the debate, actually. I'd love to have him in the debate, but he's got bad numbers, very bad. No, I don't think he's going to ever make it. But Joe Biden's open border has also been a disaster for our great African-American and Hispanic-American population. So what's happening when millions of people flow over? The people that are most hurt are, number one, the African-Americans in this country. Number two, the Hispanic. Have they taken your job yet, sirs? They better not. I don't think they're going to get your job. I'll fight for you. They're not getting your job. Nobody's getting his job. But I will tell you, they're taking African-American jobs and Hispanic-American jobs. You know who else they're really affecting? The unions. And I have to tell you, you know, we have a lot of Teamsters here. Do we have a lot of Teamsters? We have Teamsters, and I think we're doing 89% or something with the Teamsters. And they have a great leader. I hope Sean is listening right now. But we have a shot at even getting it from the top. I think we have a shot. But we have great Teamsters. They worked for me a lot in New York because they did the concrete trucks and other things, and they were incredible. So, but the unions are being incredibly impacted by all of these millions of people pouring into our country. So, but the African-American population is being destroyed by Joe Biden. Remember his statement, super predator, remember? Just don't forget the super predator statement. This guy's the biggest phony on earth. Virtually all of the net jobs created under Biden have gone to migrants. You know, almost 100% of the jobs created by Crooked Joe. What's better, Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe? Ready? Wait, free poll. Free poll. This is a free. You know, you do a poll, they say that'll cost $1 million. They go out and they interview about 200 people. That'll be $1 million, right? Ready? We'll go Crooked Joe first, Sleepy Joe second. Crooked Joe first, ready? Okay. Who likes Crooked Joe the best? Who likes Sleepy Joe the best? Crooked Joe? Sleepy Joe? Whoa. You know, that's the first time that Sleepy Joe has ever beaten Crooked Joe. It's the first. So tonight, we'll refer to him as Sleepy Joe. Because right now, as you know, it's been reported that right now Crooked Joe's gone to a log cabin to study, prepare. No, he didn't. He's sleeping now. Because they want to get him good and strong. So a little before debate time, he gets a shot in the ass. And that's. They want to strengthen him up. So he comes out. He'll come out. Okay. I say he'll come out all jacked up, right? All jacked up. Now, will anybody be watching the debate on Thursday night? I'm shocked. No, I'm shocked. But they've taken so much fun out of it. There's no audience. They actually wanted us to sit down. I said, look, I really want to do this thing. You know, they gave me, what happened is they gave me something that couldn't be accepted. They gave me an offer I couldn't accept, and I said, I'll do it. Number one, it was CNN fake news, right? Who hates Trump. Then it was Fake Tapper, who really hates Trump. And Dana Bash. Then it was, it's Dana, it's not Dana, it's Dana. You know that, right? Right? It's Dana, right? Isn't it? It's either. Scherzika. Then they said, think of this, but no audience. It's like death. There's two us and two of them. It's like death. This could be the most boring, or it could be quite exciting. Who knows? Presidential time, I can apologize. There's 50-50. Be tough. Be tough. So bad. So bad. But anyway, it'll be a good, I'm sure he'll be prepared. Whatever happened to all that cocaine that was missing a month ago from the White House? Whatever happened? Under the Trump administration, American workers will always come first. We will buy American, build American, and we will hire American. Biden wants. We're bringing it back. You know, the auto industry, United Auto, the auto workers are largely on my side. They have the worst union head in the country. This guy wants to make all electric cars, EVs, right? All the. They don't go far. They cost too much. They're all made in China. Other than that, I think they're actually quite wonderful. But he's getting decimated by his union. He supported Sleepy Joe. He supported him. Sleepy Joe. See, just for this, because I'm going back to Crooked, I think it's more accurate. I like Crooked more. I think it's. In fact, I took it away from Crooked Hillary, so I don't want to give it back to her, because now I call her Beautiful Hillary. She's a beautiful woman. I said that's the greatest day of her life when I took the branding off her. I no longer call her, so I can't give it back. But I'm going to go Sleepy Joe just for the rest of this particular this is a wild time in Philadelphia. Now, the fake news will say Trump is rambling. No, it's genius what I'm doing up here, but nobody understands. It's genius. And you know what? They know that too, but they don't admit it. You know, when I showed him not being able to get off the stage, right? And I imitate him sometimes. He always goes. And then after he does that, he can't find, you can never find the stairs. We've got about 7 stairs on every stage. Here we have, look, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this was built privately, so we have only 4. The ones built by the government, you have 7 or 8. So I made the mistake of imitating him. There was a wall behind me, and I just kept walking into the wall, because that's what happens. And I called up my wife. You heard this story. I called up my wife, and I said, baby, who could do this but me? I had 35,000 people. You know, I had 107,000 people in New Jersey. Wildwood. We love Wildwood. 107. We had 25,000 people. And that was a rainbow coalition. That was unbelievable. And there wasn't one bad word out of it. There wasn't a fight. It was like a love fest. It was the most beautiful day. Everybody came together. You know why? The people of our country are looking for hope. Whether they're white, brown, black, or anything else, they're looking for hope. They're tired of being called stupid people all over the world. 4 years ago, we were so respected, and now we're being laughed at. I took hundreds of billions of dollars away from China. One of these fakers up there said, he didn't take any money from China, tariffs. I tariffed them for hundreds of billions of dollars. He said, the American people paid. No, China paid. And the American people didn't pay for it at all. They didn't pay for it. You know, they always find a reason. They're genius in a certain way, but they're evil genius, very bad genius. I'm nice genius, you know, I'm a nice genius. Joe Biden wants to be president for illegal aliens, but I will be the president for law-abiding Americans of every background, every walk of life, every race, religion, color, and creed. And I will tear up Joe Biden's new mass amnesty executive action on my first day back in office. So a couple of weeks ago, he signed this bull. I don't want to use bad language, you know. You know why, right? A man I like, Franklin Graham, son of the great Billy Graham. And I like Franklin so much, and he wrote me a letter, and he said, President, I love your speaking. Your ability to speak is incredible. Your storytelling is great. But it could be so much better if you didn't use foul language. And actually, he's wrong, you know, but I have been working so hard, and it's not that hard. The problem is, if you don't interject every once in a while, I'm only talking about 1 or 2 times during an entire speech. You know, these speeches go on for 2 hours. 1 or 2. Franklin, give me 1 or 2 words. And if you interject, if you don't get the emphasis, but it's okay. So far, I did one today, faith and freedom, and I was really good. I didn't interject. Could have been better if I used a couple of bad words. When I see people start to walk out, then we'll stop, okay? But I like them, so we're trying. So I'm not going to use the word bullshit. It's not. I refuse to use it. And it's not that bad a word. I will also take immediate action to restore prosperity to every part of our land. When I left office, inflation was practically nothing. During my term, we had gasoline down to $1.87 a gallon, and at some points, even less than that. And the 30-year mortgage rate was 2.7%. And then Joe Biden blew it to shreds. Biden's inflation, price hikes, and energy destruction have cost the average American family an astounding $28,000. $28,000. That's a lot of money. And with me, they actually made $16,000. That's a lot of money. You know, inflation is a disaster. It's a country buster. It's a total country buster. And when you look at the prices of eggs and bacon, it's gone up 100%, much more than that in some cases. And if people are making, she said, we can't eat anymore. You can't. Don't ever eat again. Even I won't buy bacon anymore. It's too expensive. I said, I'd love to have some lovely bacon, darling. And she said, no, I'm sorry, it's too expensive. The monthly cost of the typical mortgage has doubled under crooked Joe Biden, but it's actually gone up much more than that. So with me, it was around 2% interest. Now it's 10%, and you can't get the money. So when you can't get the money, that means it's not 10%, right? You know, that's... On day 1 of my new administration, we will throw out Bidenomics and replace it immediately with Maganomics. It was just announced. This is a big announcement. It was just announced that the budget deficit is now expected to be $2 trillion for $2 trillion. That's all of his Green New Scam stuff. You know, the Green New Scam, let's build a windmill on every corner. A windmill that doesn't work. Darling, I'd like to watch television. I'm sorry, the wind isn't blowing tonight. Making his brutal inflation much worse than anybody ever imagined. I believe it's the worst inflation the country's ever had. To stop Bidenflation, I will end Crooked Joe's wasteful spending and rapidly terminate the Green New Scam. The Green New Scam. You know what the Green New Scam is? No water in your faucets. You ever try buying a new home and you turn it on, they have restrictors in there. You want to wash your hair? Well, you want to wash your hands. You turn on the water and it goes drip, drip. The soap, you can't get it off your hair. So you keep it running for about 10 times longer. You're trying. The worse is your hair, I have this beautiful, luxuriant hair. And I put stuff on. And I put it in. Lather. I like lots of lather because I like it to come out extremely dry because it seems to be slightly thicker that way. And I lather up, and then you turn on this crazy shower, and the thing drip, drip. And you say, I'm going to be here for 45 minutes. They put restrictors, and they put them on in places like here where there's so much water you don't know what to do with it. You know, it's called rain. It rains a lot in certain places. But no, their idea, you know, did you see the other day? They just put, I opened it up, and they closed it again. I opened it, they closed it. Washing machines to wash your dishes. There's a problem. They don't want you to have any water. They want no water. And I was with Whirlpool, the head of Whirlpool. I helped save that company because they were being attacked by China and South Korea. And I put tariffs on those machines coming in. They were dumping thousands, hundreds of thousands of machines. And the company now is a tremendous success in Ohio because of Jim Jordan, actually. The great Jim Jordan. And I said, what else can I do for you? They say, sir, we're not allowed to use practically any water. I need more water. I said, I'm going to give it to you. That took me about 2 seconds. But in a washing machine, they give you no water. In the shower, you have no. In the sinks, the whole country is going crazy. They want you to have electric vehicles. They don't go far. They cost too much, and they're made in China. That's why Sean Fain, or whatever the hell his name is going to be out of a job soon because he approved it. He's the head of the United Auto Workers. That's his name, I think. Don't forget, I've done most of the speech without these stupid teleprompters, so. You think Biden could do that? I don't think so. I had a speech recently. I was in Ohio, and we had 45-mile-an-hour winds, and I get up to the stage, and we had a tremendous crowd. And we have a good Senate race. Bernie Moreno is going to win, I think. He's got a good chance of winning. But I went up for him. And I get up, 45, 50 miles. I never saw wind like this in my life. If you had fake hair, don't run for politics. Just don't do it. It was blowing I've never seen. I even went up with a hat, and the hat disappeared too. Everything disappeared. But I woke up, and within about the first line, ladies and gentlemen of Ohio, whoa, and the things blew off the stage. I said, I am up here all by myself. I've lost my teleprompters. I've lost my hat. We got 50-mile-an-hour winds. People say we shouldn't even be here. But let's go. And I spoke for 2 hours. And Bernie Moreno then went out and won the primary in record fashion. So is that good? I said, you think Crooked Joe could do it? I don't think so. Sleepy Joe couldn't have done it. Sleepy Joe would go to sleep. But I will repeal every disastrous Biden regulation, cancel Crooked Joe's insane electric vehicle mandate, and we will, ready? Drill, baby, drill. Gonna get your energy way down. The Pennsylvania oil and gas industries will boom like never before. So what he did is prices started going. That's what caused inflation. He started cutting all the stuff that I did. So then he immediately put it back. So they're doing sort of similar numbers. He immediately put it back. But if they ever won, you're never going to see oil again. You're never going to see a car that goes more than a very short distance, okay? You're going to be all driving trucks if you drive a truck that's electric. You'll be stopping 6 times to 1 time, 6 to 1. I had the truckers in the other day. One of them said to me, big. I said, how many trucks do you have? Sir, I have 28,000. 28,000? These are the biggest truckers in the world, I think. But he said they want to make them use all electric trucks. I said, what's the problem with that? They don't go too far. They're too heavy. You know, one thing nobody knew, they're so heavy, 2.5 times heavier than diesel fuel, that if you make them all electric with the batteries, the heavy batteries, you'd have to build and rebuild. Every bridge in the country would have to be rebuilt. I said, did you tell that to the people in Washington? You know, sometimes you could tell something like really simple, Did you tell that to the people in Washington? Yes, sir. What did they say? We don't care. We want you to go all electric. They would have to stop 6 times from New York to Los Angeles. How many times do you have to stop with diesel? He said, we don't have to stop at all. We go from New York to Los Angeles. You talk about having problems with trucks and with deliveries. He said it's going to put us, he said, sir, all of my life, for 50 years, I've been building damn trucks and buying them. And every single year, they got better. They got more fuel efficient, they got stronger, they got bigger, they looked better. Then we started adding apartments to the cab. Some of those apartments, sir, you'd be proud to live in. I said, I don't know about that. I think so, maybe. Hey, I'd have no problem. You don't know the real Donald Trump. But he said, every year, so it's such a great statement, right? Every single year, they got better, without fail. I said, who makes the best truck? He said, they all make good. I went through every company, all great. They were all very complimentary. He's a tough cookie, too. But he started with 1 truck, and now he has 28,000 trucks. I guess he's pretty good, right? I said, that's a lot of work, right? He said, I'll work my ass off, sir. But he said, and now they want to take it all away. Because I said, every year they got better. And if they do the electric truck, we're going to go back 80 years, not 60 years. You go back 80 years. It'll be a disaster for the country. I said, you've got to tell them that. He said, we tell them they couldn't care less. They don't even hear you. These people are sick. And it's Biden and it's the communists that's around the desk. I'm telling you, it's Biden and the communists. We will also work to lift up Black, Hispanic, and other communities in Philadelphia and all across the United States. By the way, I have the best polling numbers that any president has had. They said in 75 years. I think it's longer. With Black and with Hispanic voters, we have the best polling numbers. Beautiful. Proud of you. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, we have the best polling numbers. You know what? They're smart. They want jobs. They want safety. They don't want to lose their homes. Everyone said that with the Hispanic, when we put up hundreds of miles of wall, you couldn't get it from Congress because crazy Nancy Pelosi and all that put blocks on it. So I ended up taking it out of the military. I took it out of the military because I considered it an invasion. I said, this is an invasion of our country, and I built it through the military, and the military was great. The Army Corps of Engineers. I will support universal school choice, so big, it's such a big thing. I want every parent to have the right to send their child to the public, private, religious, or charter schools, or homeschool as an option. We will cut taxes for working families as part of our tax cuts that I've announced, and there will be no taxes on tips. No taxes on tips. The government spends, Joe Biden, they increased the rules, they made it miserable. People that get some tips, they made their lives miserable. They have upped the standard and the reporting is so horrible. Everything's horrible. No taxes on tips. Every time you leave a tip for the next 5 months, make sure to write on the receipt, vote Trump for no tax on tips. Okay? It's no wonder Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them. All of their persecution is only happening because I am running for president and leading in every single poll. The rig case in New York was not a legitimate indictment. It was a Biden indictment. He's the one that did it. This wasn't legitimate. Every single legal scholar, every one of them, you know them, I've repeated their names 100 times, but every one of them said, there's no case. This is crazy what they're doing. This was a Biden indictment. That's why when I went through that case, my poll numbers went up instead of down. That's never happened. Usually you do this, I will be leaving office, go home to my wife and my family, and I will fight for my name. That's what you normally do. I said the exact opposite. We will fight this scum that we have to beat. We will fight them, and we will win. But it was all set up by Crooked Joe and his weaponized Department of Justice. But since the show trial in New York, that rigged trial, where again, the greatest legal scholars, Dershowitz, Jonathan Turley, right? Greg Jarrett, the great Mark Levin, all of them. Andy McCarthy, all of them, great scholars, and then many more. Not one of them said this was a case, but I had a judge who was horrendous, who was radical. He was appointed by the Democrats. He was appointed by the Democrat machine. He didn't win a vote. Normally you have to win a vote. He was appointed. And I'm not allowed to talk about it because I have a gag order. Think of it. I'm running for president of the United States. I had a very successful presidency. Even the fake news says that mostly. I had a very successful presidency. I win the nomination in record time. You know, I don't know if you know, we won the nomination in the quickest period of time. I mean, I won the nomination like 3 months ago, right? Normally it would still be going on. And I have a gag order from an appointed New York City judge. I have a gag order. I'm not supposed to talk. Won't that be interesting? I get a question. What do you think about this or that? Sir, I'm sorry, I won't be able to answer that. I have a gag order. Can you imagine? The President of the United States, the nominee for President of the United States, somebody that had an unbelievably successful administration, which everybody, look at us. We got the biggest tax cuts in history, the biggest regulation cuts in history, rebuilt the military, started no wars, but we finished ISIS. We beat the hell out of them. Soleimani gone. Think of that. Think of what we did. The leader of ISIS, gone, all gone. That's al-Baghdadi. Al-Baghdadi is gone. They're all gone. We had the safest country ever. Kim Jong-un liked Trump. He liked Trump. Got along with him good. That was going to be a nuclear war. He liked me. We had no problem. By the way, he's not happy right now. You're going to end up in a war if we don't get this thing done. It's going to happen soon. The area I'm most troubled by is the next 5 months, because really bad things could happen with this president. This president is a disaster for our country, and I'm very worried about the next 5 months. 5 months is a long time. You know what 5 months is? In this world, 5 months is an eternity. It's an eternity. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election in 2024. Not going to allow it. Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor. I'm being indicted for you. Never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. Never. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me, they're after you. I just happen to be standing in their way. So you have a second very important function. You have to, you know, we win Pennsylvania, we win the presidency. And all I can tell you is you'll be happy. You'll have a great economy. You'll have low energy costs. You'll be drilling. You'll get all the way back. You're going to be at levels that you've never seen before, just like you were. You know, they asked that question. Even the enemy said, I hope they don't compare the 4 years with Biden and the 4 years with Trump. But I do that now because they said that people were happy. It's like 92% preferred my term than his term. What's good about his term? Not one thing good has happened during. What has happened? They had the worst catastrophe in history, the greatest embarrassment in the history of our country with Afghanistan. But you have to do something else. You have to elect a senator, because we can also take the Senate. And if we take the Senate, the presidency, we're going to take the House. I'm sure of that. And we have a man who's a warrior, a great military person, an incredible guy, and we have to elect him as the U.S. Senator from your state. And just so you know, Dave McCormick is a seventh-generation Pennsylvanian who grew up in Bloomsburg, went to West Point, did great there, and earned a Bronze Star for his service in the first Gulf War, which was a victory. Dave went on to an outstanding career in business, and now he's fighting for the people of this Commonwealth, and he loves this Commonwealth. I mean, he's really a high-quality person. I actually said, Dave, are you too high quality for this job? But I'd rather have that than the other. And honestly, you have a senator who's been there forever. His father was there forever. He doesn't do anything. I don't think I ever met him during my years in Washington. He doesn't do anything. I don't want to use the word he's a stiff, but he doesn't do anything. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody has any idea. And Dave McCormick is going to be an activist for you. We have so much. You have to protect your Second Amendment. You need help. Dave will vote to secure your borders, stand up to China, unleash incredible amounts of Pennsylvania energy. You know, you're taking a lot of money, but they want to stop it. They want to have you never take out energy out of your beautiful ground. I call it liquid gold. And he wants to stop Bidenflation, and he wants to drain the swamp. Most importantly, Dave will defeat your atrocious radical left Senator Bob Casey. Bob Casey, look, I mean, he doesn't do anything. He's a stiff. He doesn't do anything. You ever have people like that? You meet them and they put you to sleep. You say, hello, how are you? And you fall asleep. That's Bob Casey. You fall asleep. Hello, Bob, how are you? I'm going to sleep, Bob. And Bob Casey votes for Sleepy Joe 98% of the time. 98. Bob Casey could have used his vote to stop Joe Biden's invasion of this country. Instead, he voted in favor of sanctuary cities. He voted against Kate's Law. How do you vote against Kate's Law? He voted to give illegal aliens taxpayer-funded benefits. He voted against the border wall. And he supports Joe Biden's bill to institute a minimum of 2 million illegal border crossers every year. He passed this thing. He signed this bill. It's the worst. It's worse than it is without it. It's crazy. And then he never did anything about it anyway, because he never does. Because Joe doesn't do anything that's good. Name one thing that he's done in 3.5 years that's good. Pennsylvania, you need to defeat open borders. Bob Casey, you have to get rid of your open borders, and Bob Casey will fight us all the way. Well, he doesn't fight, really. He doesn't really. It's not like, oh, gee, Bob Casey. He just goes like this. They have guys that fight. Well, they fight for crooked elections, let's face it. But you have to elect. Look, I know David McCormick. I know him through business. He's tough as hell, and he's good. He's what you need. And really a great military personality. David McCormick, please come up. You have my total support and my total endorsement. And you got to win. Dave McCormick. Come on up, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that great introduction. Thank you all. I'll just say briefly, as a father of 6 daughters, it breaks my heart to hear about these young women that are raped and murdered by illegal migrants, of Rachel's story. It's a heartbreaking thing. As a native son of Pennsylvania, it breaks my heart that 60% of Pennsylvanians are living paycheck to paycheck. Prices on the rise, 20%. As a combat veteran, it breaks my heart that we can't make our recruiting numbers, that our military is in decline, and that 22 veterans a day kill themselves. We need new leadership. We need new leadership. We need a new president in the White House that's going to get our country back on track. We need a new majority in the Senate that's going to be able to take our country in the right direction. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, David. And by the way, he's got a great wife who worked for me in the White House, and there was nobody smarter or better. So thank you, David. Very important. We're also pleased to be joined by warriors. One of the warriors is right in front of me, Congressman Dan Muser. Congressman, where is Dan? Where is Dan? Thank you. Great, Dan. Thank you very much. Does a great job. Congressional candidate, I hear he's doing really well. Aaron Beshear. Where is he? Where is he? Oh, good-looking guy. Thank you very much, Aaron. County Commissioner Tom DeBello. Tom, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Good job. We have a Philly rapper. He's going places. I'll tell you, he's got so much cash, he doesn't know what to do with it. OT7 Kwani. OT7, where are you? And I love that hat on you. That hat looks great. Thank you. Great honor to have you. And a very special thanks to the Teamsters Local 500 that helped build this beautiful rally. They were working day and night. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're also deeply honored to be joined by 8 family members of American service members who lost their lives in Biden's catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan. It wasn't the fact that he was withdrawing, because I was all set to get out. We had nobody lost in Afghanistan for 18 months. I spoke to Abdul, the leader of the Taliban. The press went crazy. Why would you speak to him? Because that's where the problem is. Just like Jesse James said, that's where the money is. When they say, why do you only rob banks? He said, that's where the money is. Well, the Taliban that's where the killing was. And I spoke to him, and after that, we didn't have one death of one soldier for 18 months. And then you had that horrible, stupid, incompetent withdrawal where they took the soldiers out first. But these families know firsthand the cost of Joe Biden's weakness and incompetence and failure. This family group, and I've gotten to know them. They thought I wouldn't spend a lot of time with them. They were at Bedminster, New Jersey, and they thought I was going to come in maybe for about 2 minutes, say hello, walk. And I thought of maybe had that in mind. I walked in, I saw them. We ended up spending 4 hours listening to music, right? Out at the terrace, looking up and talking about their loved ones. And they've taken it very, very hard, as anybody would. So I want to thank Darren, Stan Hoover, and Kelly Barnett, parents of Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Christy, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm looking over in the other area. He's looking down. They're all looking down right now, and they're proud of you, the parents and sisters and brothers. There are a lot of them here. Christy Shamblin and Cheryl Jules, mother-in-law and aunt of Sergeant Nicole Gee. Where are they? Nicole. That's good. Nicole G. Such a beautiful. You have the picture that you showed? It was so beautiful. So beautiful. Let me see that. So beautiful. Thank you. That this should have happened is disgraceful. Yep, that's it. Thank you. Say hello to everybody, please, all right? Herman Lopez and Alicia Lopez, parents of Corporal Hunter Lopez, a beautiful guy. Do you have that picture? Have it? Like a movie star, right? You look like a movie star. Thank you both very much. Steve Nicoe, and this is the father of Lance Corporal Kareem Nicoe, and that's it. You show that picture. He's looking down. He's proud of his pop. Thank you very much. No, that's another problem. You're right. That's another fentanyl. We were going to have it stopped. We had a deal with President Xi. He sends any more over, he has to give them the maximum death penalty, which was the death penalty. And then Biden never picked it up. Because you're right. Fentanyl kills hundreds of thousands of people a year. Jim McCollum, father of Lance Corporal Riley McCollum. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. Beautiful, beautiful families, beautiful children. They're not children, but they're children. They'll always be children to you, right? They were incredible people. I got to know many of them so well, so unnecessary. They lost 13, but we also had, that nobody talks about, the 38 people that were so horribly wounded, legs and arms and face obliterated. And hundreds of people were killed that day that nobody talks about on both sides. And just so sad that it happened. It would have never happened if we were elected, if we were in office. First of all, we wouldn't have used that airport. We would have used Bagram, which is a big airport with tremendous 50-mile surroundings. And we would have taken the military out last, right? Not first. You don't take the military out first. Don't forget, in addition to the lives lost and the lives that have been so badly hurt, $85 billion worth of equipment we gave them. I rebuilt the entire military. We gave them $85 billion worth of equipment, and we left many people behind. They're still behind. Nobody even knows what the number is. As president, I will always defend our military families. We will honor our great veterans, and we will restore peace through strength. Thank you. Thank you. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office shortly after we win the presidency, we win. We're going to win. We're going to win it as a group. I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. And I will do something that nobody else even talks about because they have no idea what's happening, but I do. I will prevent World War III. I will prevent it. Big problem. Gonna happen. In my next term, we will build the Great Iron Dome over our country, a dome like has never been seen before, a state-of-the-art missile defense shield that will be entirely built in America and create jobs, jobs, jobs. And Pennsylvania is a big part of that, as you know. Pennsylvania, we're going to have, 300 missiles were shot into Israel. Only one of them got through, and that was limping through. That got hit, too. Think of it. Why don't we have that? Why don't we have that? We're going to have a Great Iron Dome, the best. You know, Ronald Reagan wanted it, but really at that time, that was a long time ago, we didn't have the technology. Today you have incredible technology. We will build a Great Iron Dome, and we're going to build it right here, 100% here. We're not doing it in 17 different countries like these idiots build equipment. You build an airplane, you have the bolts made in Turkey. You have the wings made in London. I say, what the hell? Supposing you have to build planes quickly, what do? One of these countries doesn't come through. Maybe one of them's on the other side. It's the craziest thing. We ended it. I will not cut one penny from Social Security or Medicare, which Joe Biden is destroying by letting millions of people come into our country. He's destroying Medicare and Social Security. I will keep that promise for 4 straight years, and I will keep it again. Don't forget, for 4 years, I didn't do anything with Social Security. Other people would have. We're going to make our country rich again. We're going to make our country great again, and we're not going to do it by cutting Social Security. By contrast, Joe Biden has cut Medicare Advantage for the last 2 years. Did you know that? He's cut your Medicare Advantage, which is a total betrayal of seniors. And just check, you'll see it. He has cut you down for 2 years straight, and we're not going to do that. We don't need that. Remember this, we have more liquid oil. I call it liquid gold. We have liquid gold under our feet, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. I had Anwar in Alaska approved, the biggest site anywhere in the world, probably bigger or the same size as Saudi Arabia. Everybody wanted it. Ronald Reagan wanted it. Everybody wanted it. Reagan couldn't get it. Bush couldn't get it, of course. Nobody could get it, but I got it. And the first thing they did is ended it. We're going to have it. We're going to have it restored. We'll get it back very quickly. It's the biggest, one of the biggest sites in the world. Killer for Alaska, by the way, but a killer for the country, killer for the world. Would have supplied all of the Asian countries with oil. And he ended closing it up. His Secretary of the Interior came in and said, nope, we're not going to do that. After years of trying to get it, we're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever been before. And that includes the place that we have to be in right now. And I'll deal with Democrat governors and I'll deal with Democrat mayors because that's what I have. But we're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to rebuild our cities better than they've ever been before. We will take over a horribly run Capitol in Washington, D.C. We will clean it up, renovate it, and rebuild our Capitol so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime, but rather it will become the most beautiful Capitol anywhere in the world. And on day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and any other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto our children. And I will not give one penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. And I will keep men out of women's sports on day one. Signed. How embarrassing is it to say that? You know, there's some things that are, you can understand. You always like his business. You always like to understand the other side. I don't understand open borders. I mean, how stupid is an open border? But equally, and to be honest with you, much more importantly, open borders, because you have millions of people coming in, and they're coming from all of these places. They're causing tremendous death. Every day you read the paper now, you have a migrant crime, you have a migrant killing. It seems they're all young girls. They're all 13 and 12-year-old girls to a large extent. But every day you're reading about this. But how embarrassing is it for me to say, we will build a wall or we will build a border? But how embarrassing it is to say, we will keep men out of women's sports. Who would want men to play women's sports? And yet for them, for all these people, including the fake news media, for whatever reason, it's like a big deal. Who would want it? Did you ever look at the weightlifting records? Records that stood for 18 years. And a guy comes up, have you lifted before? No, I haven't. When I say a guy, a person who transitioned. Have you lifted before? No, I haven't really. A couple of days. Oh. Gets over the thing, bing, bing, bing. Are we crazy? Or the swimming, where they obliterate records, obliterate. The women get windburn as the boys go by. I'm suffering tremendous windburn. What happened? The doctor says. Oh, well, I was swimming. I'm an Olympic swimmer, but a person transitioned, and he went by me so fast that the wind burned the hell out of me, doctor. No, it's so crazy. And it's so horrible for women. It's so embarrassing for women. I will fully uphold our Second Amendment. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech. And I will secure our elections like never before. Our goal will be one-day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, and voter ID. Back to the old days. But until then, Republicans must win. We have to get out and vote. We want to do a landslide that's, you know the expression? Too big to rig. Too big to rig, right? From North Carolina, too big to rig. If you took the, you know, this is something, I used to say 5. I upped it to 10. I think I could practically up it to 20. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration has done. I think I could make it 20. Who's done this kind of damage? Who has done this damage where we have 20 million people poured in here, and they shouldn't be here, and they're destroying our country? So if you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know, and vote. Vote early, vote absentee, vote mail-in, vote in person. I don't care how they vote, just get out and vote. In addition, we need volunteers and poll watchers to watch and make sure they're not cheating, which of course they're going to try. It's the only way. Look, I'll tell you what. We came over here. There's a Trump sign on every lawn. It's crazy. We don't need the votes. You know what we need? We need to secure the vote. It's called Secure the Vote. We have a big program, Secure the Vote. We don't want them dumping ballots. We don't want them violating your state legislatures like they did. We have people with sign-up sheets here today, and basically you go protectthevote.com, sign up, because we cannot let this happen again. And Philadelphia was one of the most egregious places anywhere in the world. What happened in this city. So now they use COVID to cheat. They used a lot of things to cheat, but we're not going to let it happen again. You're not going to let it happen again. So in conclusion, from Harrisburg to Pittsburgh, from Easton to Bethlehem, and from Altoona to right here in Philadelphia, we stand on the shoulders of American legends who poured out their blood, sweat, and tears for our rights and for our freedom. This great city was the home of, wow, think of this, Benjamin Franklin, Betsy Ross, the American flag, and the Liberty Bell. Not too many cities can compete with that one. It's where Thomas Jefferson wrote the words, "All men are created equal," where our founding fathers declared American independence, where our Constitution was written to secure American freedom. I'll tell you, there is no place like this in terms of that. There is no place like this. And Philadelphia was the city that gave America generations of tough, strong Pennsylvania workers, families, soldiers, and patriots. And they all helped build this into the greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are in serious decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, willpower, and strength. We are a nation that has lost, quite simply, its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. With the right leadership, every disaster sleepy Joe Biden has created can be fixed, and can be fixed very quickly. Every problem can be solved, and every wrong can be rectified. By this time next year, America's borders will be strong, sealed, and secure. They will be strong, sealed, and people will come into our country, but they will come in legally. Inflation will be in full retreat. Our economy will be roaring back. Optimism will be surging. The American dream, you don't hear about that, will be thriving again for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Law and justice will reign all throughout our land. Freedom will be restored. The flame of liberty will be burning bright. Crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, will be a fading memory of the past. And our great silent majority, including the once forgotten men and women of our country, will be the ones shaping America's magnificent future when I am the 47th President of the United States. Because we are all Americans, and together we will show November 5th to be the most important day in the history of our nation. And always remember, we are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America free again. And we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, Pennsylvania.